What's up, guys? Welcome to Neek and quarantine. Everyone's in quarantine right now. Kind of crazy stuff going on in the world. And yeah, so because of the quarantine and what's going on, there's no new movies being released. So I'm like, what can I talk about? I have all this time now, but what should I talk about? So I'm like, what can you still do from your home that you still have a lot of, and that's TV shows. So I thought I'd switch from talking movies and talking about TV shows. I give my top 10 favorite TV shows with some honorable mentions. Keep in mind, this is just my personal list. I don't think these are the 10 best shows ever to exist, and I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so these are just shows that I've watched that I like. There's so many shows that I want to watch, and now I do have time to, because of I'm gonna be stuck in my house for a couple weeks. Perfect time to binge shows. So if you have any recommendations for me, just comment them down below. Yes. So let's get started. Starting off with some honorable mentions, we have Gravity Falls. Now, Gravity Falls is one of my favorite animated shows of all time. It is kind of a kid show, but it's not only for kids, and it's one of the only shows that I watched later that still holds up. I think you got this really nice premise with all the stuff for them kind of solving the mysteries of the place. Just makes it really fun, and you got some fun characters, and it's just pretty quality entertainment for a kid show that's not actually just a kid show. So that's just been a personal favorite. And then we have Arrow, and I know Arrow has kind of gone downhill a lot, goes up and down, but we're talking about when it's in its prime. I just really enjoy this show, especially season 2. I loved it, and season 2 is my favorite season, and I especially love that end of season 2, like those last, I say 8 episodes are just great TV. Now it does have lots of moments that are not good and has lots of repetitive stuff. The Olicity stuff starts off good, but then just gets so bad. But I still like it when it's at its best. And then we have the Clone Wars. So I know lots of you people absolutely love the Clone Wars, and I do really like the Clone Wars, but I don't love it as much as some people. I really like how it is a great thing to have within the Star Wars universe. And I feel like there's some different cool storylines we have in here, but I feel like sometimes it does get repetitive with the same sort of stuff, like, oh, we're rescuing this person, we're rescuing this person. It's just not personally my favorite. I still do really like it, but yeah. And then this one's not on my list because I just started watching it during this quarantine, but so far I've really enjoyed it, and that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I don't know if it will get worse or get better, but from now on I like it. One last honorable mention is Avengers: Mightiest Heroes. Now this is an animated Marvel show, but this is the show that actually got me into Marvel, and obviously I'm a giant Marvel fan right now, and this is the movie that got me there. And I think it's great because it explores all these arcs from the comics while still being a pretty good show. It's probably the one that I can go back and rewatch. It's not just super cringy, and it's taught me so much stuff about it. There's Ultron episodes, there's Hydra, there's Kang the Conqueror, all these different things that you go through. It introduces all these characters, and that kind of got me to understand all about the Marvel world. And that's the main reason, when they had announced a new Marvel movie with a character, oh, I knew that. I first learned about them in Avengers: Mightiest Heroes. And I think that's one reason this is my favorites, because this is one that got me into something that I absolutely love. So I gotta give it credit for that. So coming in at number 10 is Agent Carter. So this is one of the series that from ABC that fits into the MCU. This one actually does fit, because some of the shows are technically in the MCU, but this one I would consider is, because it stars multiple people from the movies in this show, and it focuses on Agent Carter, or Peggy Carter, from the Captain America movies. And this show is very underrated. Not many people have really seen it, but I think it's really good, and I want more people to see it. If you like superhero stuff, if you like spy stuff, then I think you will really enjoy it. Or if you're an MCU fan, I think you'll really enjoy it. You have a good lead with Agent Carter. You got this fun premise about how she works like, well, it's like pre-Shield, like at this like pre-Shield place, and she doesn't get respected because she's a woman, and like, but then at night she goes out and does all the missions that the other people can't do. You got some other great characters in there, and you just got some really cool action scenes and some really cool stuff that they add on to the Marvel universe, which I think is really cool. So great series. I wouldn't say the second season I would say is a little worse, but I still enjoyed it. So that's why it's my 10th favorite show. Coming in at number 9 is The Flash. And like The Arrow, this show starts off great. The first 2 seasons I absolutely love. And as the show goes on, it does get worse. I do actually like season 4 quite a bit. And this new season 6 that's going on, I think is pretty good. But I think what makes this show great, or when it is great, is just, well, The Flash is one of my favorite superheroes, and I think he's done really well. Grant Gustin plays The Flash very well. And you have a bunch of other, I really like the group dynamic of the Star Lab people with Cisco, Caitlin, Harrison Wells. All versions of Harrison Wells I really like. Probably my favorite, well, the Eobard Thawne version in the first season. And then also Harry Wells. That's probably my favorite ones. But I like all the different Harrison Wells, and that's a fun thing. And Tom Cavanaugh plays him really well. And then one of my favorite characters is Ralph Dibny. I just think he's absolutely hilarious, but they also do lots of stuff with him. Like, he kind of goes on a journey of the character as you actually dive into his story about like what happened with him and him becoming a hero. And he just has some of the biggest laughs in it. So overall, just a fun show, and the first 2 seasons have some amazing villains with the Reverse Flash and Zoom, which makes some really good superhero TV. Coming in at number 8 is Parks and Recreation. Now, lots of people say there is a big fandom of this, but there are some people who say, oh, it's just copying The Office, which I wouldn't agree with, because even though they're both documentaries, they're not really similar in what happens, because like, they're based off like different things and all the characters are very different, so I wouldn't say that. But this show is just a really good comedy. You have extremely likable characters, like Ron Swanson, Leslie Knope, and then of course Andy Dwyer. And then of course you have, this is the show that's basically set off Chris Pratt's career, and it's so funny to see him as this and where he went from being just this funny dude in Parks and Rec to going into being a lead superhero. And he's in 3 of the 6 biggest movies ever. He's now training dinosaurs, fighting mad titans, and lots of stuff. So kind of crazy how it's shifted his career. There's just a bunch of just like really funny episodes that I just really enjoy. My favorite episode is probably I don't know the actual name, but it's Ted Day. That's probably my favorite episode. But lots of the other episodes, just really good show. Coming in at number 7 is Psych. So now, if you don't know what this show is, it's about a person who's like really perceptive and good at solving stuff and like noticing things that it seems like he's like a psychic. So that's what he tells the police, that he's a psychic, and that's how he knows stuff. And then because he told him this, he has to keep this up and pretending like he's a psychic as he goes and solves mysteries. So I'm a pretty big fan of mystery stuff, and it's also a comedy. Those are 2 of my favorite genres, and I think they work really well together. And I think the reason this show works so well is because the main character, Sean Spencer, is just so good. He's one of my favorite TV characters, as he's just extremely likable. He has his unique personality, but he's also like really good at playing this crazy, pretending to be psychic. And he has these like things when once he figures it out, he goes on these like he has like episodes or whatever, and he's like saying how, like pretending how he knows all the psychic stuff and like things are telling him. It's just really funny. And then the rest of the other cast in it is really funny, and the mysteries I thought are well done and stuff. So in some you can kind of tell it's like not too easy to understand, but you can kind of get a hold of what the mystery and who did it if you're like paying attention. But then some are just like would be impossible to find out. But yeah, it's just a show I've really been enjoying. Coming in at number 6 is my second favorite animated show, which is Milo Murphy's Law. So this is another underrated show because I don't really think that many people saw it. So it's from the creators of Phineas and Ferb, which I think that show is amazing. And lots of people love that show, but they've never seen this. So it's from the creators. It takes place in the same world as Phineas and Ferb. As there's literally a crossover of Phineas and Ferb in the second season, and then like Doofenshmirtz Smirts is a reoccurring character on it later. But anyway, it's about a kid who has like Murphy's Law, which is anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and it's like all the stuff that happens with him. And I think it works because the two creators, Dan Parver-Mir and Jeff Marsh, are really good at creating these they're really good at writing these smart lines to say that's just really funny, and just it makes it like one of my favorite animated shows. And in Phineas and Ferb, they're all individual episodes. This one has some overarching plot, which I actually think, especially the first season one, is actually really an interesting plot to do, which kind of seems crazy, but they make it work. And then you even got all the characters are really funny, and if you have Weird Al plays the main character, Milo, he plays him really well. They have some memorable songs. It makes a really good animated show that if you haven't not seen this show, I would recommend checking it out. Coming in at number 5 is another underrated show, The Middle. So The Middle is like a sitcom. It started in 2009 and it went all the way till 2018, and it's one of the shows that doesn't lose its quality over 9 seasons. It dips a little in season 5, I think, but then it gets it back up. And this is just, I watched this with my family. That was kind of our thing. We watched through it in a couple months. It's just a really fun, enjoyable sitcom, as you have these extremely memorable characters playing them. These great family. It's dynamic. The family dynamic, the characters, each character's has their own stuff that makes them funny, and they're very consistent. But then also there's a whole bunch of side characters that come in that are hilarious. They bring back stuff, there will be something that they say seasons ago, and they bring it back seasons later. It's really good at bringing back stuff and not making plot holes. If something happens at the end of one episode, it will continue into the later episodes, which I feel like lots of sitcoms don't do it. It's also just hilarious. And just a really fun time, as you have, especially with this last season. I think is really good because they knew it was going to be the last season, so you just get to have a bunch of payoffs from all the things that 8 years were leading up to. And it's just a great sitcom that doesn't really lose its quality. Coming in at number 4, I mean, you probably guessed this was on it. If Milo Murphy's Law was on it, then you gotta have Phineas and Ferb. Now this is the show that I just grew up on, and I absolutely love this show. Lots of shows I grow up, I go back and watch it, and they don't hold up. But this show absolutely does. So you have these great memorable characters. You have the smart humor that's written very well, and even though they are each episode is basically the same thing, they do these great things to switch it up and stuff, so it doesn't feel too repetitive. I don't know how they can do the same thing for so many seasons and not make it repetitive, but somehow they do. Of course, it has the super memorable songs and everything that just makes it one of my favorite shows. That I liked it when I was younger, and I still can find enjoyment a lot out of it now. That's why it's my 4th favorite show. Coming in at number 3 is The Office. I mean, it's The Office, so what can I say that someone hasn't said? This show is just so funny. It's just everything, almost every single line, all the characters, everything about it, it's just funny. These writers are must be true geniuses for comedic talent, because they're able to write these interesting scenarios and these characters that are just so great. As you have about you have like half just like over the top crazy characters that are nowhere real. And then there's a couple characters that are like, they could be real people, but they're like a little bit over exaggerated. And then there you have the people like Jim, Pam, and Ryan, like, so you can see through their eyes to understand like why, because so we can have the people who understand that this office is very crazy and stuff do it, but then also with those three people who do realize all this stuff is crazy, they have different ways to react with it. Ryan is just like, I'm just done with this. Pam is like kind of going along with it, and Jim's just like, this is kind of crazy, but oh well. And then you also have like one of the best TV characters, probably the best TV character of all time, with Michael Scott. They make someone who should be so unlikable likable, because he's like a rude person, but at the same time you can see where he's going. He's just trying to get acceptance from his coworker or from the workers, and he's just trying to gain acceptance from everyone, but he's also just says horrible like, oh, why'd you say that awkward stuff? And then he's like, but every single thing that comes out of his mouth, well, mostly every single thing that comes out of his mouth is just hilarious. That makes you laugh. And also it's one of the best 5 minutes of television with the fire drill scene. I just absolutely love this scene. And there's so many just other scenes with that. Of course, you have Dwight and Jim with all the pranks. Just everything's just classic show. And it was able to make a whole, like, even, like, 15 years, I think, from when the show started. People are still talking about it. There's still new memes. Everyone's just relating to it. It created something kind of special. In the last couple seasons, once Michael left, do drop in quality. So that's why I can't have it any higher. But a great show. If you somehow have never heard of this show, then go check it out. Coming in at number 2 is a pretty new show, which is The Mandalorian. So I did a bunch of reviews for it, 1 through 6 episodes on my channel, and I just somehow did not end up doing the last 2 episodes. So you can go check out my reviews for all those episodes. I absolutely love the show. That's what you need to know. And I'm just going to talk about those episode 7, episode 8, which are 2 of my favorite episodes of the season. Episode 8 is my favorite episode, and I also love episode 7. So they're kind of like this conclusion of this season, as you had this stuff set up in episode 1 and 3, and then you had the other episodes like setting up some new characters but being their own standalone. But this one brings it together, and you get the characters you bring back some of the characters from the other episodes, and you come back to see this final thing with where it's this plan with Carl Weathers' character, and they're trying to go trick the client with Baby Yoda. It's all coming together, and then stuff goes down. You get introduced to Moff Gideon, which is great in the episodes. He has some nice he seems menacing in the villain, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And spoiler warning, but then you also have IG-11's amazing sacrifice, which I thought was handled really well, and he's just a great character. And you used to see awesome action scenes throughout it. And then episode 8 was directed by Taika Waititi, and you can kind of tell, especially with that opening scene, which is hilarious. So overall, just really liked it, and like this entire first season overall. But it's not my number 1 because there's just only 1 season of it. It could become my number 1 because they're going to keep making seasons of it. But then we also have those other Disney Plus Marvel shows that are coming out, so I don't know, this could change. But coming in at number 1 is Stranger Things. So I actually did a ranking of all 3 seasons. You can check that out. So if you have seen my channel, you know I love this show, and I just love this show. I don't know what to say, but I can't. But I think they nail the characters, the atmosphere, the different world building, the different moments make you feel tension. I think it's all just great, and they're able to make like a horror show like appeal to everyone, which is kind of hard. So because they mix so many different things, so I think this is a show that everyone can enjoy, because they have the comedy, they have some romance, they have some sci-fi, they have some horror, they have all these different genres mixed together that I feel like if you like anyone, you can find some, and that's why it became so popular, because so many people can find things they like about this. And then, yeah, as I said, I absolutely love some of these characters. I think they flesh them out really well. As this is like an ensemble show,